Thank you so much for being here. My name is Lisa Romano, and I want to say thank you for being a part of this YouTube community, first and foremost. And secondly, this video is about better understanding how narcissistic abuse can be a shock to the system and why this is so important for people to understand. I know that before I understood what was going on in my life, I felt stuck, I felt broken, I felt not good enough. I believed that there was something innately wrong with me, that there was something wrong with me. Why couldn't I just heal? Various therapists, various types of medication. I did supplements, I did meditation, I did yoga. I did so many things in my life to try to help me heal. And still, I felt broken. I felt not good enough. And it wasn't until I found a very intuitive therapist who said, everything that you're feeling, now I want you to start thinking about feelings as energy and vibration. Everything is going to go back to vibration. Physicists, quantum physicists, they're concerned with vibration. And this was an amazing turning point in my mindset because I was trying to heal what was broken through the mind. I was trying to heal what was broken from the maze, from my broken maze. I want to say hello to everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And my intention is very, very clear. It is to help you find ideas and concepts that help you break free. And I can only offer you the tools that I have accessed along my healing path, and they have been truly transformational. They're not silver bullets, and I can tell you that until you apply them, you really don't understand the benefit of them. And so today, what I wanted everybody to understand is that narcissistic abuse is an absolute shock to the system. Now, when I stopped trying to figure things out through the mental field and I went deeper, and for me, that path was slow down the monkey mind. My ex-husband, my mother, my father, my siblings, my alcoholic uncles, the gamblers, the people that really made our lives miserable when we were kids, they were in my head. The way that they treated me. I created a meaning for the way that my godfather treated me. I created a meaning for the way that my mother treated me, the adult child of two unrecovered alcoholics. So my mother's disdain for me, her dirty looks in my head, in my little girl's mind, it was because I was not good enough. Mommy could not love me because I was not good enough. Stick with me, dear ones. That's a shock to your psychic system. That's a shock to your nervous system. That is a shock to your autonomic nervous system. You are put into the sympathetic nervous system. That's the shock of narcissistic abuse. So now think of a shock and then think of a shock wave. When you feel rejected by an unhealthy mom, let's not even use the word narcissist, just an unhealthy, unrecovered mom who has yet to regulate her own system. Right? Let's say we'll just use that word. So you were raised by someone who is unrecovered, who is full of anxiety, who was trapped in their ego, who believed their ego story. And that happens to all of us naturally. When we are born, we forget our true nature. And the whole process, in my opinion, of a soul being born into a physical body is to overcome the story, is to awaken to, wait a minute, this is a story. Sort of like the movie The Matrix. I don't have to play out that reality anymore. No, but you don't get that choice until you can actually see that that's what's happening. When I was finally found a therapist that said, you're codependent, and your depression is tied to codependency. I still was not satisfied with that. And he went and he helped me understand that my codependency was tied to being raised in a very unhealthy home, a very rigid home, an authoritarian home. There was no warmth in my home. There was, you better eat the food we put in front of you. You better not cry. You better not complain. You better walk like a soldier. You better stuff your emotions. You better smile when daddy comes home. I don't care if you bleed, you cut up your knees, stubbed your toe, and you're sick and have a fever. When that man walks through the door, you make him feel good. You make him feel like your daddy is the best daddy in the world. And I got all that info and data from my mom because that's what she did. That's a shock to your system. Narcissistic abuse is a shock to your system. Now, why is that so important to understand? The work that I offer people inside my modalities, which now, just so you guys know, we're bringing it under one umbrella, the Conscious Healing Academy. And that includes the 12-week class, level 1, master class, level 2, and eventually Soul School. The work that I've done over my arching career is, I'm always so amazed. It's like, Lisa, you understood that this is a vibrational journey because the abuse that you suffered as a child was a shock to your system. And that's what PTSD is. Now, with complex trauma, we are the children, or we are the adults in an experience that we feel and we believe we cannot escape. Now, when we're children, we cannot escape. We can get caught up in the foster care system. We can get caught up in, I mean, you see it, in the news media where extreme cases of incredible malignant, narcissistic, psychopathic, sociopathic abuse of innocent babies. I mean, it just drives me crazy. Like right now, there are children in situations that they cannot escape. And their systems are going through a constant shock and a constant shock and a constant shock. And if we just pan out a little bit and we look at an innocent baby that's in that situation, and we understand the reverberation of feeling unsafe, the reverberation of feeling like you can't escape, just the constant reverberation in the cells of this little tiny being, and the belief systems that are being ingrained at the neurological level, the belief systems that are happening in terms of how you see the world, they're not wrong. Even if they escape these incredible experiences that are so terrible. And when I say incredible, I mean terrible, incredible experiences. These children still have this blueprint and template. Think about a crystalline structure inside your body that mirrors those early experiences, and that's not their fault. When they have anxiety, when they feel unsafe, when they are suspicious of other people, when they choose to isolate, when they become antisocial, when they don't trust anything that anybody says, when they are tuned up for the crap in life, that's not their fault. That is a mirror to what happened to them as children. It's a mirror to the shock waves of narcissistic abuse. Now, why is this something that we as narcissistic abuse survivors and those of us who have experienced emotional neglect as children or psychological abuse, verbal abuse it matters. So when your mother calls you the B word or calls you an a-hole or calls you a moron or a jackass and says you're worthless, that is psychological abuse. That is a shock to your system. Now, just when I say the word shock, I want everybody to imagine shock waves, energy, frequency. So that lands and your cells respond to that shock. And what we have to do is be aware that, okay, that's what happened inside of me, inside of my DNA, inside of my neurological structure, my crystalline structure. Yes. That's what's going on at the subconscious level. Yes. That's why you're afraid. Yes. All of it is valid. It's just a mirror for what happened to you as a child. But I want to give people hope, because I was that person stuck in that template. I was that person feeling like her entire system was on fire. And I lived with somebody who would say, I'm not crazy, you're crazy. I'm not unhappy, you're unhappy. This is all you, Lisa. It's all in your head. You're just a negative person. You can't be happy, Lisa. And he shut me down. And on the flip side of it with my parents, it was just like, you're impossible to please. When you're being abused mentally and emotionally by other people, they don't admit it. You feel it, but they shut you down. And there is no resolution. There is no recovery. There is no repair period. So you are in a constant state of being shocked by the people who are supposed to, you think consciously, love you, have empathy for you, have consideration for you. You think, and you know on some level as a child, I think I'm supposed to feel connected to mom, but I don't. I think I'm supposed to feel protected by my dad, but I don't. That is a shock to your system. The problem that we have as wounded adult children is that we take on the meaning of these experiences, and it results in shame. And it results in this fear of getting outside of this brain map that we have that's associated with survival. We learn that if we shut our mouth and tone ourselves down and are hypervigilant when it comes to other people's moods, then we avoid more pain. And we don't know at a deep subconscious level, we're just trying not to get rejected. We're trying to soothe the shock that is always happening, right? And that's really important. So we can medicate, we could find ways to escape. That shock and that reverberation of narcissistic abuse is always there. It's like a tuning fork. That's why we jump when things happen. That's why it's hard for us to sleep, or we overeat, or food becomes our friend. Or we watch like cop shows, we watch like emergency shows, like hospital shows, because it's enough of a shock factor to keep us dissociated from the reverberation of this narcissistic shock inside our own system. And interestingly enough, when our lives start to take off like an even keel, maybe we get the job, maybe we get a relationship, maybe we meet a friend, maybe we start to heal in our bodies, all of a sudden we find that we're really super uncomfortable with this next level of calm. Our nervous system says, no, 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 sweetie pie, that does not compute. You need to be hypervigilant. You need to be scared, because you've learned that when you drop your guard, bad things happen. So your nervous system pulls you right back into the predictive safety of imagining the next shoe dropping. We can break through of that once we understand that's what's going on. You cannot escape a maze you don't know that you're in. You can't stop playing a game you don't know that you're playing. You can't soothe the nervous system that you don't acknowledge is jacked up from this type of narcissistic abuse. And that's why early on in my journey, I understood like this conceptually, like my mind has been hijacked. Like my inner critic is not me. It's my mother's voice. It's the little girl inside of me that said, Lisa, just shut up. She's mad. Like, just stop. Just stop crying. Stop thinking. Stop feeling. Because she's watching you. And every time you make a move, she's coming down on you, right? She's talking to the neighbors about you. Don't give her a reason to criticize you. Just shut it down and shut it down. Now, what that does when it shuts you down, you can't connect to your authentic self. When you shut down, you can't connect to your dreams. When you shut down, your imagination center, which is the seat of the observer and creator within you, it can't be, and this is what pissed me off. I was like, wow, I am so focused on worrying about what people think about me. I'm so worried about what my mother thinks about me and losing my family. They've never been for me. That my imagination center, which could be used to create wealth and happiness and harmony and help me become a tuning fork for friends that actually give a crap, because of this crap, I'm focusing on what if negative. And when that clicked, I was like, oh, hell no. I'm not letting them win. I'm not letting the past win. I'm not letting the people that tried to make me feel less than win. I'm going to do everything I freaking can to slow down my brain, to slow down my brain waves, to slow down the thinking, become the observer, and catch those mother effing thoughts that are keeping me stuck. And these people that tried to piss in my face and tell me it was raining, they're going to watch this girl fly. They're going to watch me expel myself from this sick dynamic. And that is what the hell I focused on. Now, I had to recognize that what was wrong was this reverberation, these shock waves that created this structure inside my brain, which meant I had to take all my energy back, all my hypervigilance back. I had to call it all back into my own beingness. And I had to be vigilant about how my mind was going down a rabbit hole. And I would just gently, with feminine energy, Lisa, come back, let them think what they want, right? Give them permission to have a faulty perception of you. Critical people criticize. Don't expect an alligator to not bite you or bite your ankle off as you approach the bank. It's going to bite you. And when I just realized, like, I can't expect a narcissistic family member to not be narcissistic. It's an unrealistic expectation, but it was a false belief. It was a psychological. This is layered. You've got the psychological component, you've got the energy component, you've got the emotional component, you've got the subconscious mind component, you've got the reverberation, the vibrational component. And I can tell you that as you start to heal, as you start to first step, know that you're in a matrix, know that you're in a pattern, know that your subconscious mind is going to try to call you back into a predictive model. Stay safe, stay aware, stay hypervigilant. Don't put yourself out there. People might criticize you. Don't imagine a brighter future. You're not lucky. People are going to criticize you if you want that. Never share your true self. Just always stay in the predictive survival code, because your brain knows what to do in the survival mode. Your brain doesn't know what to do in even keel mode. You have to teach it how to get more comfortable. The early stages are hard, because as you start to like pull away and you even bring back your psychic energy and you say, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm doing this. I'm focusing on the sun. I'm focusing on the fact that my heart beat all night long. I'm focusing on the fact that my nails still grow. I'm focusing on the fact that I have a pair of shoes to put on today. Maybe you don't have two pairs, but at least you got one. No matter what is thrown at me, I am going to be thankful. I'm coming out of survival. And in the early stages, when you're doing this, I would say mental science work, when you're doing this consciousness breakthrough work, it's really hard because it's going to call you back. The predictive coding is going to call you back. But that's why I call myself the Breakthrough Life Coach. And my community is the Breakthrough Community. It's because you need to break through. And the hardest part is that the initial break. And I just want to use my platforms to encourage people to understand the process, because once you're prepared for it, oh, Lisa said this is going to be really hard, right? Like my mind is going to want to default to worry because it thinks that worry keeps me safe, but it doesn't keep me safe. It just continues the reverberation or the shock of this narcissistic abuse and actually makes me a tuning fork for more abuse. And it pushes the love and the warmth and the compassion and what I need to actually heal away. It keeps me separate from abundance. Now, you want to accept and try to surrender to this idea that this is the way it works, and that it is when we heal what? Go deeper. Don't get caught up in the mental mind. That's why support groups are great, but if you're trying to heal narcissistic abuse through the mental space, it's going to take you a lot longer than it needs to be. And if you are only learning about narcissistic abuse, say, yep, that's what happened to me. Yep, that's what happened to me. Yep, that's a narcissist. Yep. It's going to keep you stuck because the universe goes, yep, that's what happened to you. Yep, you attracted a narcissist. Yep, that's how you felt. Yep. So nothing's really shifting inside of you energetically. Now remember, I'm not making this stuff up. Everything's vibrational. The entire universe is a vibrational frequency. Everything that you touch is moving. So when we think about physicists, they're only interested in vibration. If you go down to the basis of anything, you're going to come down to vibration. You want to beat a narcissist at their game, don't focus on what they say. Don't focus on what they do. Don't even focus on what they did. Focus on how you think about them. Focus on the vibration you offer them. Now, I'll leave you with this because it actually went over longer than I wanted it to. And if you enjoy live streams, just follow me on Facebook. because I often do most of my lives there and on Insight Timer, which I will be offering more soul-based, more spiritual-based live streams on Insight Timer. And that's a free app that you can enjoy and register for. So I would definitely do that, because I believe that to really heal, we've got to move into the vibrational realm. We have to just stop the nonsense. Stop thinking that your thoughts aren't emotional and your thoughts aren't vibrational. Just knock it off. Yes, they are. Your thoughts affect your EMF. Can we go quantum? Because that's where it's at. And you can bypass all the pointing of the finger and all the mental stuff. And if you can just call yourself back, and I challenge you, practice it. Today, no matter where you are, start practicing your holding onto your vibrational energy. Notice when someone walks into the room, what's your response? Is it negative, or is it positive, or is it neutral? That's what you want to start gaining control over. But you can't gain control over it until you're aware that that's what's happening. And pay attention. When this finally clicked inside of me, number one, I meditated. Up to 4 or 5 hours a day. I would come up from a meditation, and if my mind was just doing that monkey thing, I just laid back down and I did another meditation. And then what started to happen was I would sit up, and I'm telling you, if somebody was watching me, they think that girl is bananas. She's out of her mind. What is she doing laying on this brown couch for 3, 4, 5 hours at a day? Because I'm trying to control the mind you mother effers destroyed when I was an innocent little baby. That's why. And yeah, I'm worth these hours of meditation. If it's going to change my life and call my energy back and change my vibration and help me become emotionally regulated and help me organize my mind so I could be an effective mom and teach my children how to turn grit into greatness, yeah, I'm going to meditate. And get away, move away if you think I'm nuts. Bye-bye. It worked. You need at least 40 minutes of meditation to slow down the mental chatter. Anybody that tells you different is wrong. This is psychologically sound and it's proven, okay? And so if you're in survival mode, it's free. Meditate. You don't know, my meditations on YouTube have no ads on them. I made sure that my team unchecked ads. No. We don't run ads on my meditations on YouTube. You can use them. Create a playlist of my meditations. If you fall asleep, even better, because your subconscious mind is no longer resistant to these healing vibrations. All of my meditations, I pray and I send the intention of love and healing and expansion into every word. And so if you use these meditations, you're going to start to feel a shift. You're going to start to feel a lift. Now, make sure you use these meditations for 6 months. Or you know what? I've been meditating, I would say probably now religiously for at least 25 years every day. And if I'm not doing a sit down, lay down meditation, I'm doing a walking meditation. If I'm not doing a walking meditation, I am contemplative. I am observing myself. I have activated the observer within me. No more this little girl inside of me reacting to a negative thought and thinking that negative thought is me. No. My mother put that thought there. And I will be damned if I'm going to let people who try to destroy me because of their own trauma control me as a grown-ass adult. I will not allow that. I got grit, and you can turn grit into greatness, but you have to understand what it is you're dealing with. So understand narcissistic abuse sends a shockwave through your system. So what are you really trying to control? You want to control the energy in your system. I don't like that metaphysical language. Okay, your autonomic nervous system. Does that serve you? Because some people are like, oh, Lisa's going into metaphysics. Okay, my nervous system is my autonomic nervous system. 2 pathways, sympathetic and parasympathetic. You're in survival mode, you're in the sympathetic nervous system. You've got high cortisol. And I can tell you without even knowing you, your subconscious mind is expecting the worst all the time. That's not your fault. That's what you've got to gain control over. As a man or woman thinks in her heart, so are they. And so when you start to realize that, wow, this really hurt me, right? And you want to gain control over what's really going on. Think about it in vibration. You will shift, you will make so many more strides thinking about narcissistic abuse in terms of shock and in terms of vibration. I promise you, just try it. So the first thing that you want to do is understand that there's this shock to your system and you want to calm the system. What's the easiest way to do that? If you don't know how to do that, talking about it doesn't work. Talking about it actually reinforces the neurological pathways of the abuse that you endured. And so that's why talk therapy has its limits. Cognitive behavioral therapy, it has its place. But what's wrong is subconscious. And your subconscious mind is 500,000 times to 1,000,000 times stronger than your conscious mind. So why would you stay in the conscious mind? Why would you stay? Why would you not investigate the subconscious mind? This is scientific. This is scientific. And so if you believe that and you're hearing this, then it behooves you to start meditating. Okay, I don't know how to meditate. I didn't know how to meditate. Do you know what I did? Yes, hypnosis therapy with a trained therapist can work, absolutely. But you want more than that. I don't want to give my power over to a hypnotist. I want to learn how to manage my own mind. I want to learn how to say cancel to a negative thought. I want to learn how to say F you to a negative belief system. I want to say, see you later, get behind me, Satan, when I have a belief running in the back of my brain or consciously that has me believing that I am not a sovereign being that has been born and my birthright is not abundance. Okay, get behind me, Satan. Okay. I absolutely, as do you, it's your birthright to experience the good in life. It is your birthright. Okay. Your trauma is going to tell you you're not worthy of that. Oh, this doesn't happen to people like me. That's your subconscious mind. That's what narcissists taught you to believe. That's a vibrational frequency, and it's showing up as a thought process or a thought form that is a belief system that is subconscious, that is the result of vibrations, repetition, observation, and consistency. You've got to turn this around. You are Dorothy. The ruby slippers have been with you all the time. Click your heels 3 times. That represents consistency and repetition and consistency and repetition. No matter what my family threw at me, I meditated. And every time I meditated, I was like, I'm going to wake up or come out of this meditation so much more empowered and light. So the more they threw at me, the more I wanted to meditate. Because when you meditate, you're taking control. You're going into the subconscious mind. When you sit, oh, they did this and oh, they did that, you're just reinforcing the neurological pathways associated with that trauma. If you really want to heal trauma, you have to address what's in the subconscious mind. So first things first, know what you're trying to fix. You're trying to fix your vibrations. First things first. Okay. I don't have to talk about this all day. I don't have to stay in therapy all day. I don't have to be in a support group all day. Nope. What do I have to do? Do chakra balancing meditations. Do third eye opening meditations. Do root chakra healing meditations. Do inner child healing meditations. When you're doing a meditation, just love yourself enough. Give yourself permission to say, I deserve 40 minutes to an hour a day. If you might not feel the shift right away, do it the next day anyway. Do it the next day anyway. It's sort of like, they say how, if you would have saved like $2 a day when you were like 21 and put it into a bank account that had compounded interest, you'd be a millionaire by the time that you're 35 or 40 years old. It's the same thing. The $2 doesn't seem like a lot. But when you quantify it, what you're doing is you're changing that shock. You're taking control over the energy in your system by slowing down your energy, because your thought forms are energy. Your subconscious mind is energy. What you believe is energy. When you say namaste, namaste, and you shutty to the outside world, don't argue with your narcissistic sister. Okay? Don't do it. Don't argue with the boss. Don't have fights in the street. Literally, namaste, turn the cheek, walk away, and focus on bringing your energy back to yourself. Yes, sunlight helps, walking helps, drinking plenty of good water, making sure that your minerals and your vitamins are up to par. Good fats, avocados and coconut, MCT oil, because when you start to do this, your brain uses up a lot of energy, because you are no longer a robot that is operating this virtual reality through the ego story. You're no longer that robot. You're no longer that avatar. Your DNA starts to change. And don't be surprised if the people that you sort of like felt magnetically drawn to, don't be surprised if they start criticizing you. You've changed. You're different. Okay, they'll start that. And then eventually, if you keep rising, then they're going to throw at you, you think you're better than me? You think you're better than us? Oh, you think you know everything? Shutty, shutty. Give them nothing. The minute you open your mouth, you give someone your energy. The minute you open your mouth, your tongue is tied to your heart. Save it. Shutty, shutty, dear one. Hold on to your energy. Meditate, meditate, meditate. I'm telling you the benefits of meditation. It's actually, if you don't believe me, look this crap up, because this is what I do. I need to research this. Also, the placebo effect, right? So I'm giving, Anna Pryor just said, please give us some simple tips for a happy mind. Okay, meditate. When you wake up in the morning and the minute your monkey mind goes and you feel the rumination, say to yourself, not today. Where can I create a sacred space? Get yourself a cup of chamomile tea. Don't shove caffeine down your throat. Make something nice and warm, something like chamomile tea or dandelion root. Just make a nice cup of tea, sip it, center yourself, ground yourself, put your earbuds in, and do a meditation. Give yourself 40 minutes. I dare you. Give yourself 40 minutes. When you leave the house, I dare you to control the monkey mind. I dare you. So rather than just go out and let the subconscious mind govern you, you walk out your front door and you notice the sun. Notice the birds singing. Notice how the sun, how many people notice how the sun feels on their face? Not many people, because we're so in our head, danger, danger, danger. Okay, that's the shock. That's the shock, right? Yes, meditation before bed is amazing. So meditation as soon as you wake up and meditation before you go to bed. Those are the most sacred hours of your day because your mind is coming out of delta and it's really impressionable. So before I get out of bed in the morning, as soon as I start to feel I'm coming up out of sleep, I'm so thankful I woke up today. I start my effing day with gratitude. You know how I used to start my day? With dread. What's my mother going to say today? How am I going to pay that bill today? What's my ex going to do today? What are the kids going to say to me today? Dread, dread. What's going on in the world today? Okay, that's a vibrational frequency. Reticular activating system. I tell my reticular activating system, the back of my brain, pay attention to all the crap that might happen to me today. And the perceptual field opens up. And what do I welcome into my world magnetically, vibrationally? All the crap. All the crap. Sorry, I want to be the master of my reality. It is not fair that I was born behind the 8 ball with all of this freaking generational trauma. It's not my fault. I'm innocent, okay? But I will escape it. I will escape it. I will master my mind. But you have to know what you're mastering. That's why I'm trying to make it really simple for you today. You're mastering your energy. If you're in a support group and everything's get, my narcissist did this and my narcissist did that and my mother, okay, it's very validating, right? But if you don't pull away from that support group and that type of language and heal your vibration, then you continue to tell that story. I don't tell the same story I used to tell myself. I tell the story of resurrection. I tell the story of salvation these days. I used to be someone clinging to authors and clinging to videos and clinging to therapists and clinging to meditation and clinging for some outside answer. That ain't me anymore. That ain't me anymore because I figured it out. They arrested me at the level of the subconscious mind, and my beliefs were a reverberation and a mirror for the narcissistic shockwave. So, very pragmatically, what do I really have to focus on? My energy. The energy I give other people. The energy I sit in like a dirty diaper within my own mind. It has to be me. It has to be me. It has to be me. I have to say no more, right? And you have to be very, very gentle. So I hope that what you guys hear me saying is that we have to, in order to master anything, you have to know what it is that you're mastering, right? That's why lots of times we go into therapy and we're talking about narcissistic abuse, and the therapists are just not up on it, or they're just like, well, we have to focus on the symptom. Okay, but I'm still operating from the paradigm that the narcissist infused in my head. I'm broken, I'm not good enough, I'm negative, I'm too much, I'm needy. I'm still operating from the paradigm my mother infused me in. I'm not good enough, right? It oftentimes doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's why so many of us turn to YouTube. We start Googling key phrases. What's wrong with me? Like, why don't I love myself? Like, how do I fix my relationship? My husband thinks I'm crazy. We start to Google these key phrases, and they could very well be, not always, but they very could well be manifestations of narcissistic abuse, of emotional neglect, or psychological abuse, or being raised in a house that is affected by alcoholism. Many of us don't even know that we're adult children of alcoholics, because our parents don't acknowledge that they're alcoholics. They don't acknowledge their grandparents were their parents were alcoholics. Yet there's this entire world that opens up to us when we start to realize what is wrong. When you know what's wrong, now you can point your ship in that direction. So what I hope you hear me saying today is that before I can really heal, I have to understand the root of what I'm trying to heal. At the end of the day, you can label it narcissistic abuse, you can label it gaslighting, you can label it triangulation, give it any abuse label you want. But at the end of the day, you are trying to heal the shockwave. That is a vibration, that is energy. When you move past the analytical mind, you can now process this idea that, oh, I'm supposed to be managing my energy. Correct. All right, now that I know that I'm managing my energy because my energy is off, I have this shock wave, this reverberation, narcissistic abuse. And when I talk about it, I'm just wiring my neurons to stay in that pattern. Correct. I'm actually making my brain worse. Correct. When I don't know what it is I'm actually healing and I'm just talking about what's broken, I make my brain worse. Correct. Why didn't anybody tell you that before? Because they didn't know it. They didn't understand it. Because psychology likes to carve out this energy piece, right? But if you break it down, you have to be smart, dear one. You have to trust your own guidance on this. I trusted my own guidance on this. You know, it comes down to a shock wave. That comes down to my nervous system. That comes down to me living in survival. That is the sympathetic nervous system. It's not the parasympathetic nervous system. Your body can't survive and thrive at the same time. This is why I love Bruce Lipton, his book. It's all about like changing your beliefs to change your life. And even Joe Dispenza, Break the Habit of You. But Bruce Lipton's work really does show you how what changes a gene is your belief that you can have cancer cells floating around in your system, but it's the belief that you might get cancer that actually initiates or downregulates that gene for cancer. I think it was Dr. Siegel who did the work with multiple personality disorders and discovered that between personalities, the eye color shifted. Say what? Moles appeared from one personality to the next. We know that the placebo effect, that 70% of those people who are given a sugar pill showed marked improvements as good as those who received the actual drug. That is how strong the mind is, okay? Trauma makes your mind work against you. It's what I call the faith factor. If I don't feel like I'm good enough, my body and my mind is moving in that direction. If I start to pull that back, like that train, I think I can, that 2% rule, meditate anyway. Don't give up. I promise you, if you don't give up, just challenge yourself. Meditate. You don't want to give yourself such a big goal for 6 months. Give yourself 6 weeks. I dare you. I challenge you. Meditate. Stream was interrupted. Let me see if it's back online. Yes, we're back online. So the stream was interrupted. Sorry about that. I had a call coming in. I should have silenced my call. But I challenge you, try to meditate for 6 weeks. And just after the meditation, just sit up from the meditation and just notice if there's a feeling of relief in your heart space, right? Energy has moved. Now, you're not looking, you're trying to gain control over your energy. And you're going to activate the observer. Now, this is a process. That's why I offer 3 courses for this process. It's just so much easier to have a roadmap than to try to like figure this out on your own. And that's up to you whether or not you follow my work or opt in to be part of our membership. It's entirely up to you. I offer far more, oh my God, thousands times more free information than I offer any paid resources. So I do put enough out there for the diligent soul that's like, okay, Lisa broke through. She has a similar story to me, very relatable. So if she's saying that it's energy and that if I just shut my mouth and observe and pay attention to what's happening in my mind and calm myself and use meditation as a tool, eventually what will happen is I will have more control over my energy. I won't give my energy away. When you're hypervigilant, you're sending energy out of you. When you close your eyes and you bring your energy back, you're bringing the energy back to you. You're pulling yourself, all of this energy back. That helps you feel more self-confident. That helps you feel more powerful, less disempowered. There are no downsides to understanding narcissistic abuse or codependency or any form of trauma as an energy issue, as a vibrational issue that manifests as a psychological or emotional or spiritual or physical block or a manifestation. My I'm not enough or imposter syndrome or codependency is purely a manifestation for what's going on inside of me on a subconscious level, which can be understood as a vibrational thing. When I break the belief and I practice being calm, then my nervous system has to uptick. My nervous system has to expand and start to learn how to be calm. That becomes my new normal. Now, there is a myriad of things that have to happen in between that. Sometimes you have to leave people in the past. Sometimes you have to change your job. Sometimes you have to move out of state. Sometimes you have to move around the block. There are a myriad of things. Sometimes you have to deal with a food addiction. Sometimes you have to deal with an alcohol or a weed addiction. Sometimes you have to go through a pornography addiction. Whatever it is, whatever your escapism is, there are a myriad of things that you have to let go of as you take on this conscious healing path so that you can learn to balance your nervous system. But it is so freaking worth it. So meditate, become more conscious, activate the observer, prefrontal lobe, neocortex. Most of us are operating from the amygdala. Think about the amygdala as blinders on a horse. Most of us are operating as avatars that have been impressed with this story. We believe it. The amygdala acts like a virtual reality headset, and that's all we see. Lions and tigers and bears on mine. I'm saying BS. You can control your mind to be anything and to do anything, but you can't do it without understanding what it is that you're really trying to control, and that is your vibration. So the next time you're with a narcissist, pay attention to what your virtual reality headset says they are. I believe the video was released yesterday where I talk about how even the Bible talks about like you are anxious and nervous because you think you're a grasshopper. Well, I used to think I was a grasshopper. I didn't know I thought I was a grasshopper, but I felt less than everybody. And so where was the problem? Was anybody better than me? Absolutely not. But what was happening? It was happening inside my mind. So imagine your beliefs as a virtual reality headset. And if you're not conscious, you wear whatever headset other people have programmed you to believe in, right? And think about, just like when you watch TV, what is really happening? You're watching waves. You're watching waves. And when your brain is interpreting visual cues, your brain is interpreting waves, right? So be careful about the meaning you give people in your life and the meaning you give yourself. Because when you stop seeing yourself as a grasshopper, and that will happen as you meditate, and that will happen as you shutty, and you understand every time you open your mouth, you give someone a piece of your energy. Every time you spend time with someone who's bad for you, you are giving them your energy. You. And you have the power. You have the power to pay attention to what you think about. So meditate, then do what I did. When I was undergoing this rapid transformation, this self-enlightenment process, it was like I have to control how negative my default brain is. And so I made a vow to myself, Lisa, today, no matter what's happening, you will only allow your reticular activating system to let in abundance. And at first it was like this. It was like a tiny, 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 tiny pathway. But the more I practiced, it was like, okay, this giant vortex opened up. And suddenly I taught my reticular activating system, wow, that's a beautiful sun. Look at those seagulls. Look at that bird. Look at that little girl. Oh my God. Oh, I love her bag. Oh, I love the color of her hair. Suddenly, rather than my imagination center being focused on the negative, my entire reticular activating system said, oh, we're paying attention to the good in life now? Holy cow. The universe said, oh, you like paying attention to abundance now, Lisa? Here's some more. And look at that tree. And look at that forest. And look at that grass. And look at those people. And look at this. And look at this. It was all here. It was all here. So I really hope that this has inspired you. Like I said, follow me on Insight Timer, follow me over on Facebook, and I'll offer more lives. If you want more lives, just let me know in the comments section. I'll be more than happy to do that. As we shift all of my courses over into a membership, I will have more time. It's an honor to serve you. And it's frustrating to me to know that so many people are being led astray to focus on what the narcissist did, to focus on what their mother did or didn't do, when what we should be focusing on is the shock wave. We should be focusing on the energy that has left in our body. And to me personally, once you see what's going on, I think that the quickest way to heal is to really address the energy thing. How often do I look at my ex-husband and think, how can I please him? Versus, I wonder what tool he's going to use today to try to hurt me. That is a psychological condom. I remember the first time my ex-husband came home from work and I said, I'm going to hold on to myself today. No matter what he says, no matter what face he does, I'm not giving a meaning to it. I'm going to stay anchored in my own energy. And I can pretty much do that now. I could go out into society and see things happening and my energy has been all called back. Why? Because I've neurologically regulated, and meditation was the first step. And that's why in all of my courses, I offer meditations. Because what's wrong is subconscious. It's not conscious, it's subconscious. And that's why in all of my courses, I offer neuroscience-backed journaling prompts, neuroscience-backed healing, exercise, homework assignments, because what's wrong is subconscious. You need help with the subconscious realm. Your mind is always going to pull you into what's wrong and how to avoid more pain. That's the problem. We need to go deeper. So I really hope that this has been helpful to your ones. So from my heart to yours, namaste. And I really hope that you go out today and you focus on your energy. You decide what you're going to give energy to and what you're not going to give energy to. And maybe you'll have a couple of breakthroughs today. Bye for now. Bye. Oh, there you go.